Help me welcome to the stage Alan Stein Jr.
The first time I met Kobe Bryant, he said something to me that changed my life forever. See, back in 2007, Nike flew me out to Los Angeles to work the first ever Kobe Bryant Skills Academy. Nike brought in the top high school and college players from around the country for an intense 3-day mini camp with the best player in the world. And for any of you that don't follow basketball as closely as I do, just know that in 2007, Kobe was the best player in the game.
Bryant dribbling, has to put it up with the buzzer, banks it in! He banks in the three!
Well, an important fact about me is basketball was my first love, my first passion. I fell in love with the game at 5 years old, and I am so grateful that here 4+ decades later, basketball is still a major pillar of my life. And having grown up so closely around the game, I'd always heard this urban legend of how insanely intense Kobe's individual workouts were. Well, when I found myself on his camp staff, I figured this is my chance. This is my shot. So at my earliest opportunity, I walked up to Kobe and asked if I could watch one of his private workouts. He was incredibly gracious. He smiled. He said, "Sure, man, no problem. I'm going tomorrow at 4." Well, I got a little bit confused because I had just got done looking through the camp schedule, and the camp schedule clearly said that the first workout with the players was the following day at 3:30. Well, Kobe recognized that confused look on my face and clarified that with, "Yeah, that's 4 a.m. Well, I couldn't think of a legitimate reason of why I couldn't be somewhere at 4 in the morning, so I committed myself to being there, and I figured if I'm going to be there anyway, I may as well leave my mark. I may as well show Kobe how serious of a trainer I was. So I came up with the plan to beat him to the gym. So I set my alarm for 3 a.m. The next morning, the alarm goes off. I quickly jump up, I get myself dressed, I hop in a cab, and I head to the gym. Now, when I arrive, it's 3:30 in the morning, so it's pitch black outside. But the moment I stepped out of the cab, I could see the gym light was already on. From the parking lot, I could faintly hear a ball bouncing and sneakers squeaking. I walked in the side door of the gym. Kobe was already in a full sweat. See, he was going through an intense warm-up before his formal workout with his trainer started at 4. Well, out of professional courtesy, I didn't say anything to him. I didn't say anything to his trainer. I just sat down to watch. And for the first 45 minutes, I was shocked. For the first 45 minutes, I watched the best player on the planet do the most basic footwork and offensive moves. Kobe was doing stuff that I had routinely taught to middle school age players. Now don't get it twisted, this was Kobe Bryant. So he was doing everything with an unparalleled level of intensity and everything with surgical precision, but the stuff he was doing was incredibly basic. Well, his workout went on for a couple more hours, and when it was over, once again, I didn't say anything to him, I didn't say anything to his trainer, I just quietly left. But my curiosity kept nipping away, and it eventually overwhelmed me to the point that I had to know. So later that day at camp, I went up to him again and said, "Kobe, I don't understand. You're the best player in the world. Why were you doing such basic drills?" And he flashed that $1 million smile. He gave me a friendly wink, but he said something that changed my life forever. He said, "Why do you think I'm the best player in the world?" Because I never get bored with the basics. I never get bored with the basics. Kobe Bryant, the best player on the planet, and someone that has truly mastered his craft, said that his secret is that he never got bored with the basics. And as obvious as that might be to you all right now, that was a life-changing moment for me. See, it was in that moment that I finally realized that just because something is basic, it doesn't mean that it's easy. Those are not synonyms, and yet people mistakenly use those words as if they're interchangeable. Just because it's basic, it doesn't mean it's easy. If it was easy, everyone else would be doing it. And you all know that we live in a world that unconsciously tells us it's okay to skip steps. Tells us we should always be looking for a shortcut or a hack. Tells us we should constantly be chasing what's new and what's shiny and what's flashy and what's sexy. But I'm here to tell you, when you do those things, you're making a huge mistake. And that's because the basics work. They always have and they always will. And the very first step to improving performance in any area of your life, it doesn't matter if it's individual or organizational, it doesn't matter if it's personal or professional, the very first step is to admit that the basics work. But it's also having the humility to acknowledge that implementing the basics every single day is never, ever easy. Now, I would hope that the primary lesson from that story is blatantly obvious. And that is, this coming Monday, I want every one of you to start your workday at 3 a.m. No, I'm just kidding, of course. Take a breath. Here's what I do want you to do. I want you to spend this upcoming weekend getting clarity on the basics that you need to focus on to raise your game. In other words, I need you to get crystal clear on the fundamentals that you need to work towards mastery of primarily during the unseen hours so that you can show up consistently as the best version of yourself, ready to make a meaningful contribution to everyone and everything around you. And that's part of why I'm here today, is to help you with that. But before we go any further, I need you guys to trust me for a moment. I know we're just meeting, but I need you to trust me. I'm gonna give you very basic instructions for a very basic task. I'm gonna have you guys try a mind-body connection exercise that I've done with the best basketball players on the planet, because I wanna see how you all stack up. So I need you to set down your coffee, set down your devices, set down your pens, and just have your hands ready. I'm gonna give you very basic instructions for a very basic task. I need you to take your left hand and put it on your nose. Take your right hand, wrap it around and put it on your left ear. And it's okay if you feel a little foolish. You should see what you look like from up here. When I say go, I want you to clap your hands twice, and as fast as you possibly can, you're gonna make the mirror image of that. You'll end up with your right hand on your nose and your left hand on your right ear. I wanna see who the fastest person at the Freddy's reunion is. Go! Oh. Put your hands down. I don't know if Aaron and the rest of the planning committee had you guys sign a liability waiver, but I can't afford for anybody to get hurt during my keynote. As you guys can see, just because something is basic in premise doesn't mean that it's easy to execute. And in your business, in the hospitality business, in the service business, in the food and beverage business, execution is the name of the game. Your success, your growth, and your profitability hinges completely on your ability to execute your three pillars, your three fundamentals: quality, cleanliness, and hospitality. But for those of you taking notes, please write this down. Complexity undermines execution. I'm going to say it again because it's really important. Complexity undermines execution. As leaders, it is your primary responsibility to untether from the unnecessarily complex, make things as simple as possible, focus on the fundamentals, and help your team members simplify success. And ultimately, that is why I'm here today. See, if you're in this room right now, if you are part of this Freddy's reunion, you are a high performer. You all are the Kobe Bryants of the food and beverage space. And one thing I know for certain, having spent my entire life working with, working for, and working alongside the highest performers in both basketball and business, is high performers like you guys are always looking to grow. You're always looking to improve. You're always looking to develop. High performers like you guys are always looking for that edge. And ultimately, that is why I'm here today, to help give you that edge. And I'm gonna do that by telling you some stories and giving you some stats and maybe have you try some things that make you feel a little uncoordinated and uncomfortable. But most importantly, I'm gonna arm each and every one of you with a handful of practical, actionable concepts, strategies, and approaches that you can implement yourself and with your teams immediately to do three things. Number one, improve your personal influence and impact so you can lead with excellence. Number two, how you and your team members can show up every single day as the best version of yourself, ready to make a maximum contribution to everyone and everything around you. And number three, give you the tools you need to continue to build winning teams and a championship caliber culture. But that's a lot to cover in now under 60 minutes, so buckle up. The first three components are going to be the foundational principles of effective leadership, of leading with excellence. And those are going to be your perspective, your core values, and your purpose. I want each and every one of you to choose to see the world through the lens of, it's not about me, it's about you. It's not about me, it's about you. You need to be able to look every single member of your family in the eye, your spouses, your significant others, your children, and say, it's not about me, It's about you. You need to be able to look each other in the eye, as well as your team members back at your restaurants, and say, it's not about me, it's about you. And you absolutely need to be able to individually, organizationally, literally, and metaphorically, need to look every single guest in the eye and say, it's not about me, it's about you. If you are taking notes, write this down. As leaders, when you learn to shift your focus off of what you want from people and you shift it to what you want for people, you become the most magnetic person in the room immediately. I'm going to say it again because it's that important. As leaders, when you learn to shift your focus off of what you want from people and you shift it to what you want for people, you become the most magnetic person in the room immediately. And when it comes to personal influence and impact in leadership, magnetism matters. And if you ever need a reminder that it's not about you, I want to encourage you to have children. As you saw, I have now 14-year-old twin sons and a 12-year-old daughter. And last year, I was asked to give a keynote for a really well-known big franchise brand in Las Vegas. And I decided that I'd bring my twin sons, Luke and Jack, with me. I figured it'd be a great bonding experience, a great boys' weekend, a great chance for them to see what it is that I do for a living. And I'm at the MGM in Las Vegas on a massive stage, huge audience. And I gotta be honest, I was in the flow. I was in the zone. I was absolutely killing it. You know, kind of like right now. And about midway through my keynote, I looked out at the table where my twin sons were sitting, expecting to see them sitting up tall, smiling, beaming with pride, hanging on every word. And instead, I see my son Jack, dead asleep on the table. And his twin brother Luke was building a pyramid out of my extra business cards. Neither one of them was listening to a single thing that I was saying. So like I said, if you need a reminder that it's not about you, I want to encourage you to have kids. So that's our perspective. The second pillar of leading with excellence are your core values. Not just the Freddy's organizational core values, but what are your personal core values? What do you stand for? What do you believe in? What are the non-negotiables that you use to make the most important decisions in your life? Here's why it's vital as leaders to get crystal clear on your core values. When you can learn to make decisions based on your core values, then you're going to become consistent. And consistency matters. See, when you learn to lead, when you learn to make decisions, when you learn to treat others based on your core values and not the roller coaster and ebb and flow of emotions that we all experience as human beings, when you learn to lead based on your core values, then you become consistent. And when it comes to leadership, consistency matters. But there's another reason getting crystal clear on your core values is important. When you get crystal clear on your core values, it makes decision-making more fluid. Now, this doesn't mean you won't still have really hard decisions to make. Hey, that's the price tag of leadership. That's the price tag of ownership. But it means now you'll have a framework to make that process more fluid. Because every single decision you make, large and small, personal and professional, individual and organizational, every single decision you make, you run through the filter of, is this in alignment with my core values or not? And if the answer is yes, if what you're about to say or do is in perfect lockstep harmony with your core values, then you do it immediately, no hesitation, and you do it with a smile. But if what you're about to say or do is not in alignment with what you say you believe with your core values, then all I ask is that you pause. You take a beat. You take a breath. And you have the conscious awareness to ask yourself in that moment, do I want to say or do something that is not in alignment with what I say I believe? And it's been my firsthand experience that the mere act of taking that breath, taking that beat, taking that pause is enough time to course correct. See, nothing will undermine your credibility or undermine your ability to lead faster than not living in harmony with your core values. And I could, if I had time, say this to every single one of you. You can't lead your team somewhere you're not going yourself. This team can't become something you're not. So in order for there to be consistency, we have to lead and live and make decisions based on core values. So we had our perspective, we had our core values, and now let's look at purpose. The purpose behind what it is that you all do. And don't confuse function with purpose. The function of that chair you're sitting in is to provide somewhere for you to sit. The purpose of that chair is to provide you comfort. So you guys have to make sure that you, but most importantly, every single member of your team is crystal clear on your greater purpose. Now let's not get it twisted. The function of what you all do is you serve food. The purpose of what you all do is much deeper than that. You provide an environment for people to connect. You provide an environment for people to make memories. As Will said yesterday, there is a nobility in service, and you have to make sure you stay connected to that. One of the best organizations that I've ever seen do this at scale is DHL, the International Shipping and Logistics Goliath. DHL has done a masterful job of making sure every member of their team stays deeply connected to their purpose. Now, for a little bit of context, DHL has a presence in every single country in the world and has hundreds of thousands of team members. And as I said, they've done a masterful job of making sure every single one of those team members, regardless of title, regardless of tenure, stays connected to that deeper purpose. And what is the DHL purpose? We don't deliver brown boxes, we deliver promises. We don't deliver brown boxes, we deliver promises. And they make sure every member of the team, regardless of title or tenure, stays connected to that. Which means someone could be working in a small country in a rural town. They're working the graveyard shift in the warehouse. They're literally working overnight. And let's be honest, their job is to put brown box after brown box on the truck after truck. But they make sure that person knows you are not putting a brown box on a truck. You're putting a little kid's birthday gift on a truck. You're not putting a brown box on a truck. You're putting a future bride's wedding dress on a truck. You're not putting a brown box on a truck. You're putting somebody's medicine on a truck. They go to great lengths to make sure every single member of that team knows that they're doing something well above and beyond just the function of their job. And because of that, DHL has unparalleled buy-in, believe in, and incredibly low attrition. And when you learn to lead and make decisions because you're connected to your deeper purpose, then you become the most inspirational person in the room. And when it comes to personal influence and impact, when it comes to leading with excellence, inspiration matters.